Welcome back, everybody. Continuing on with this discussion about the head coaching hires. Moving down the list, third on the list in alphabetical order, we're going to Vegas, where the Super Bowl is this week, obviously. And the Raiders stick with Antonio Pierce. They've had a lot of turbulence at the head coaching position in the last few years. Obviously, they had the big splash hiring of John Gruden. We kind of all know where that ended up going, not in a particularly good place. And then Rich Bisaccia takes over. He was the special teams coordinator for that Raiders team and seemed to get a lot of buy-in from players and all that, but they didn't end up going with him. Instead, they picked from the Belichick tree and go with Josh McDaniels, and that goes pretty disastrously. And then now they fire him mid-season and they promote Antonio Pierce, who was the linebackers coach, and seem to get a lot of buy-in from the players. I think culturally this is a good hire for the Raiders. I think going out and trying to get another splash candidate would not sit well with the players. And as much as you want to maybe appeal to the fans and getting a big name of Vrabel, a Belichick, those kind of guys are on the market, or if you wanted to go for like a Dan Quinn or somebody like that. I think sticking with Pierce shows a certain level of loyalty to coaches and to players. There was obviously reports that Max Crosby, star player, defensive end, was, essentially said, if they don't hire Pierce, then I'm going to explore other options. So I'm sure that kind of spooked them into making a decision. So let's go through his resume a little bit. Looking at my notes here, he played in Washington and with the Giants, and most of his coaching experience actually comes from my alma mater at Arizona State. Go Sun Devils. Did I even do the forks right? There you go. Forks up. So at ASU, he was the linebackers coach, and he was also involved with recruiting, associate head coach, co-defensive coordinator, and then he was the ASU defensive coordinator in 2021. Last couple seasons, he's been with the Raiders as a linebacker coach, and obviously he took over as the interim this year after they fired McDaniels. He went 5-4 during those 9 games. And like I said, ton of support from the locker room. We all know about the cigars and such. To me, seems like it's a culture hire. Seems like a good guy. He's 45, so he's relatively young. It's interesting because very clearly defense is the side of the ball that he likes to focus on. And similar to other hires that we'll get into as we go further on, it seems like the overall trend in the NFL is offense, right? Between the star coaches of the league and star teams of the league being Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan and that entire 49er offense, Sean McVay and Matt Stafford. You could go down the list on and on and on. It seems like a lot of teams are investing heavily into the offense. What I'm noticing as I'm going through these head coaching hires is there is a very concerted effort from these teams that moved on to invest heavily in the defense, particularly if they're in an offensive-focused division. So AFC West, Sean Payton is very clearly looking to revamp the offense, move on from Russell Wilson, but you got Patrick Mahomes to deal with, and the Chargers, who we'll get to in a little bit, have their new head coaching hire in Jim Harbaugh, and they have Justin Herbert to deal with. So I think it's smart for the Raiders to go in a defensive direction. You don't want to get in an offensive arms race with the Chiefs or with the Chargers. It's just not going to work out well for you. I would give this a pretty solid nod of approval. I think Antonio Pierce seems like a good guy. Like I said, seems like the players like him, and that's super important, particularly with Gruden getting fired the way that he did, to a guy like Davante Adams, who's expressed pretty well. I guess he hasn't expressed it publicly, but there are rumors about his dissatisfaction with his time with the Raiders. And obviously, if your best player and Max Crosby is like, well, I'm walking, or I'm threatening to walk if we don't hire this guy, your hands are kind of tied. That being said, they could be tied to a much worse candidate. So I like the hire for the Raiders, getting Antonio Pierce, but what do you think Any other thoughts? Was there somebody that you think they should have gotten instead? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, continue watching these. And remember, at the end, we are going to encapsulate this all into one big video where I rank these head coaching hires and give them some grades. That being said, my name is Brian. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.